This is the Troll Patrol, live with Justin FREAKIN.
Welcome to the Troll Patrol, live number 2 today. Alex Jones first or we riot? God damn it. Producer Warlord, Alex Jones is fucking at the main ass end of the show. There are only 3 stories past Alex Jones. That is not the top story tonight. What is up, Sky Comet? But to run down the things we're doing tonight, Alex Jones found in contempt of court. The judge is going to fine him like 25 grand a day, every day that he doesn't come in and give a deposition. This comes one day after Sandy Hook families rejected an offer for a settlement. Just know the weather. I'm gonna try to do the full stream and not go off air, but the weather may try to kill me. And if it gets smoky, he doesn't like when it starts storming and shit, and he will come in here and hide. The weather may get a little hairy out here. Hey, buddy, what you doing? Hold on, I don't have it ready for you to have your little stinger. Smokey. Bama trying to silence Justin. It's an act of God, son. It's an act of God. Let's see thunderstorm. Like, I looked at the radar and it was looking like it was going to come around me by 10 o'clock. Plenty of time to do a stream. We'll get this shit in, but it's starting to look wild out there. Wind is what are you doing, Smokey? You guys can't see him because he's so fucking gray. Get onto my chair. Yes, what else are we talking about tonight? Astronomers discover the furthest star that they have found yet. I think that's cool. House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy had a meeting with one Representative Madison Cawthorn about his comments having to do with cocaine and orgies. Want some attention? You ain't hung out with me all day and now you come over here wanting attention? Yeah, dang, the wind is really starting to blow out there. Double boo. Oklahoma and Arizona. Here's a triple boo. Oklahoma and Arizona have signed bans on trans athletes. Ron DeSantis went on with Tucker Carlson out his nonsense down in Florida. There were kids walking out in protest over the Don't Say Gabe. Well, cocaine and orgy sounds like a good Saturday night unless you're doing it with 60, 70-year-old Republicans. Then it don't sound like a good night. Now, does it? Do you really want to be like at an orgy with Roger Stone?
You live in sexual anarchy?
Buddy. You just chilling. Like, hey, I need some attention here. That guy was like, no, I'll pass then. I'll pass. We can start our own orgy. With hookers and blackjack. Come on. Won't be any 60, 70-year-old Republicans. Being a man, being a woman, being a little slut.
You live in sexual anarchy?
That Pikachu lives in sexual anarchy. I think that's a Pikachu. I never played Pokemon. Pokemon came along like just a little after my time. I'm a little too old. If I had been like 5 years younger, apparently I would be Pokemon obsessed like the kids are nowadays. Like I just barely watched the first season of Power Rangers before like I was like out cruising for pussy. One year, like I'm watching Power Rangers, I'm wanting to be the Green Ranger and shit. The next year is like, somebody give me some pussy. That's the Pikachu, eh? I missed out on a lot of the like the Dragon Ball Z and shit, like cause where I went to college a little later on in life, and most of my friends ended up being 6-7 years younger than me. I got schooled on the whole Dragon Ball Z Pokemon shit. The first game came out like what, 96, 97 or something like that, but I hadn't even heard of it. I didn't hear of it until much later. What is up, Ginger? You gorgeous fucker. My pot dealer in college loved the Dragon Ball Z. I played it. There was like a fighting game. The PS3, PS4. I can't remember what time period it was. It was like right in between the consoles. Came out in 96. Yeah, see, I would have been 12 then. That's like fucking Power Rangers was like 95 or some shit. Yes, I got very horny very, very early on in life.
You live in sexual anarchy?
It was sometime around that time. It was for the Super Nintendo, I do believe. The first game is for the Super Nintendo, correct? Then like the N64 would have come out around like 97, 98. I'm afraid like I'm gonna knock you over or something. There. My little buddy. We're gonna talk about Milk Mulvaney. The fucking, what was his title? He was like the budget director of the White House. Fuck yeah, the N64. My buddy Battle Opossum comes in here. He's got a N64 hooked up in the back. Well, it's probably a kid's room now, but there used to be a back room that he had with an N64 hooked up. He could break it out on a moment's notice though, because on the rare occasion that I go home for a holiday, he's got to break out the N64. We play No Mercy. That's just what happens. Matt Gaetz had a fiery exchange on the House floor over Hunter Biden's laptop. The FEC, Federal Election Commission, has fined the Democrats and the Hillary Clinton campaign, apparently over the dossier. We'll get the whole scoop on that. Trump saying no to being Speaker of the House also has a challenge for Democrats. Meanwhile, Russian TV is saying that they want to install their partner, Trump, as president again before the election. Some Russians stole some nuclear material, apparently, from Chernobyl. People are worried that they may have the ability to build a dirty bomb. Apparently, they went in there without any protection in an area that is highly radioactive. They may not make it far. Their skin may fall off before they ever get to making a dirty bomb. All they talked about was the Hunter. I assure you, Sky Comet, Hunter Biden is way, 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 way down on my list of stories tonight. And it's only because Matt Gaetz made an ass of himself on the House floor that we're going to discuss it. Now, he did apparently submit the contents of the laptop into the congressional record. It is absolute. Bullshit might not be the word for it. It's nonsense in the national political discourse. Nobody gives a shit. Yeah, Murray, we're going to get to the bottom of exactly what was entered into the congressional record, because we don't know what all, like, this is an active investigation. How does Matt Gaetz have a copy of something that the FBI is actively investigating? Whole thing seems sus. Also, how is Matt Gaetz still in Congress? Oh. There is an insurance company trying to kneecap a fantastic Democratic candidate for Senate in Pennsylvania. His name is John Fetterman. How is Matt Gaetz a free man? That's an even better question. We're going to get a double dose of one of my favorite representatives, Katie Porter. She's going to break down the Biden billionaire tax proposal for us, and also she's going to tell us about Medicare for All and the proposal that is currently in committee in the House. As we were talking about earlier today, when we did the Biden press conference where he got his 4th booster, there was the first ever committee hearing on Medicare for All was held yesterday. We're going to hear from Katie Porter about that proposal. We're going to hear from Bernie Sanders on the budget, and he ain't happy. He ain't happy with Biden's budget proposal. And if you didn't join us earlier for the Biden booster shot shit, oh, I've got to see this. I got to see this meme. That is a very nice gif from Sky Comment here. This is multi-purpose. Oh, also, apparently, they asked Will Smith to leave the Oscars, but he didn't? What? I doubt. Shut the fuck up, pedo. I can get a lot of use out of this gif. Seriously. That can come in handy with many a Republican. All right, let's get started with some natural disasters. I think that's what we're starting with. Some cops were shot up in Buffalo, apparently. 3 officers were shot after a high-speed chase. That just happened within the last few hours, but we're not going to cover that. Depending on what the details are, maybe we'll do that tomorrow. So Arkansas, this is the storm that hit Arkansas is the one that's hitting me, or coming towards me right now. It's heading right for me. This is a local news hit on the damage that Arkansas faced after deadly tornadoes.
Asa Hutchinson today, he's been in touch with the Arkansas Division of Emergency Management and Springdale's mayor. And in a post on Facebook this afternoon, he said, quote, search and rescue teams have been deployed as there are significant damages and injuries, as we've been showing you all day. Continue to monitor the weather throughout the state as this storm system moves through. Make sure you have a safe location in the event additional severe weather impacts your area. Now, the Springdale Chamber releasing a statement on the storms. It says, in part, our staff is currently reaching out to businesses potentially in the storm's path to identify any needs we can assist with. If you are aware of a Springdale business damaged by the storm, please contact the Chamber. You can see the number there on your screen.
Well, I thought we were going to get pictures of storm damage here.
7222
or some video.
Springdale Chamber President Bill Rogers says his office learned a lot from the Joplin, Missouri Chamber after its massive tornado.
You never want to have to kick into an emergency mode, if you will, but so many of us learned a lot the hard way.
So these were tornadoes that hit Arkansas overnight into today.
So it really was a wake-up call for chambers in this part of the country to make sure we at least had an action plan.
As I said, that's the storm that's heading my way right now.
Some help available if you need it.
There is pictures of the damage.
Tornado, at least an EF2 tornado that tore through Springdale and Johnson today. We're here with
Biden can't regulate his emotions, according to Tucker. We've already got one Tucker clip. I'm not going to play that one. We already have enough Tucker on the show tonight. The interstate in Pennsylvania has reopened after a fucking, what was it, like a 20-car pileup on Tuesday? Finally reopened following a blinding snow squall on Monday. Killed at least 3 people during the pileup. You can see this is just wild video here. Hey. Three people killed, dozens more taken to the hospital. Fucking wild video.
I was hearing loud bangs and explosions, and then I saw the smoke. That was the one thing I could see, was black smoke from the tractor trailer.
60, up to 60 vehicles were involved in the pileup. Others melted onto the highway. Damn. Hi, Smokey. Welcome back. Really want some attention tonight, aren't you, buddy? Kitty. You sense the storm coming, you want me to cuddle you, is that it? He's my cuddle cat. It happened on Monday when we had the, severe cold snap and they had a winter weather event. I guess people just weren't prepared in March. A snow squall on Monday in Pennsylvania, 60-car pileup. Pandemic-era border policy expected to end in late May. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention is expected to end the use of Title 42, which, by the way, multiple State Department officials have quit in protest over. This is one of the things I get so upset with right-wingers when they talk about, oh, Biden opened the border. No, we still have a policy, a Trump-era policy in place that State Department officials in the Biden administration have quit over because they say it is too stringent, that it is inhumane. But yet, people are acting like the border is wide fucking open because right-wingers are morons. A pandemic-era public health policy used by both Trump and Biden administrations to rapidly expel migrants at the border. By late May, it will come to an end. U.S. officials have been bracing for the policy's end, which could fuel already rising numbers at the border. The government has readied a sweeping contingency plan, preparing for a worst-case scenario of up to 18,000 migrants being taken into custody each day, Homeland Security officials told reporters on Tuesday. And we're even seeing Ukrainians at the southern border now. The CDC cited the decreased risk that migrants would contract or spread COVID-19 in detention facilities. According to the Wall Street Journal, the delay in ending the policy until May 23rd provided DHS more time to prepare. We are finalizing our current assessment and will release more information later this week. I mean, I'm against the use of Title 42 as an inhumane policy. Just fucking automatic deportation for people is inhumane. They have a right to seek asylum, but also locking them up indefinitely is inhumane. Border Patrol Chief Raul Ortiz said Tuesday at a conference in San Antonio that they expect migrant apprehensions to reach 1 million in the coming days, just halfway through the fiscal year. Border resources are already stretched with significantly more people attempting to cross the border than normal, including from faraway countries like Ukraine, that made deportation difficult. Encounters with migrants already are double the levels from this point last year and more than 900,000 encounters, according to DHS officials. Hold on, let me get the meme. I don't have it handy, I don't think. I need it handy. I always need to have this meme here. It is. And like this is such a libertarian position. How like right wingers that believe in freedom contradict themselves on this one. I don't see any borders. Do you? Let's zoom in. Nope. Still don't see any fucking borders. No fucking borders. Ain't a thing. I agree, Sky Comet. No, I'm like, the Obama era policy, which the Republicans have railed against so much, was catch and release, detain them, give them a court date, let them go on about their business. Of all the horrid policies, that seems like the least horrid policy. I don't, Merkin. I don't. But also, he was running for president. I understand, like, you don't want somebody that compromises on their beliefs and principles. But to get to that fucking level, fuck them imaginary lines, indeed. Coronavirus cases are rising in European nations because restrictions eased too soon, a WHO official said. Daily reports of new coronavirus cases are increasing in 18 European countries, including Britain, France, Germany, and Italy, because the authorities are relaxing pandemic restrictions too quickly, a senior World Health Organization official in the region said on Tuesday. The official, Dr. Hans Klug, the organization's regional director for Europe, said the increase in new cases was linked to the recent spread of the highly transmissible Omicron subvariant known as BA.2. Take a gradual, measured approach, Dr. Klug said. The 18 countries are lifting those restrictions brutally, from too much to too few. Despite the most recent surges in cases, he said he saw reasons for optimism because the large proportion of people in most of the countries who may have some level of immunity either from a past infection or from being vaccinated. Scientists have cautioned that the protection against infection may wane over time, and that's, once again, just preliminary data out of the UK. It seems like the rate of reinfection is far higher. That is, people that had gotten the original Omicron just a few months ago are getting reinfected now. But once again, that's anecdotal. We don't know this for a fact. It was just a doctor I was reading on Twitter. Klug noted that the mortality from COVID-19 was still declining in the 18 countries. Even so, he said the virus remains a deadly threat across the 30,000 people died in the month of March. 30,000 United States citizens died in the month of March. Still an outlandish number. Down from the 60K that died in February. Still an outlandish number that should not be happening here in the most developed country in the history of the world. We'll have to get used to the virus remaining in circulation at some level indefinitely, but it does not mean that we cannot get rid of the pandemic. Dr. Klug said at a news conference he spoke in Chisinau, the Moldovan capital. I probably mispronounced that. And if it's the Moldovan capital, I guess I owe it. Actually look up how to pronounce the capital city's name. Learn something.
Chisinau.
Chisinau is the capital city of Moldovia, where Klug met with health officials who are dealing with refugees fleeing the Russian invasion of neighboring Ukraine. Bring the virus under control, he said. Countries in Europe should protect people who are especially vulnerable to the virus, strengthen their health surveillance measures to detect new variants, make use of antiviral medicines that can drastically reduce the severity of the disease and take care of long COVID patients whose symptoms linger for weeks or months. Yes, wealthiest. Even as I was saying most developed, I was seeing that fucking bridge thing that China has. How they fucking, like, it's a little crane thing that goes out and puts these sections of bridges out there. Like, I wouldn't want to be up there on that thing. I wouldn't want to be operating it. We ain't got nothing. We ain't got no marvel of engineering fucking shit like that here in the U.S. So yes, wealthiest was the distinction I should have made. Thank you for the correction, Ida. Yes, Sky Comet, yes. I appreciate the distinction. So there you have a doctor saying that we are lifting restrictions way too fast. Meanwhile, you have 21 states suing the CDC and other federal agencies to end mask mandates on public transportation. Thank you, Daily Wire. Thank you so much. 21 states filed a lawsuit on Tuesday in an attempt to get the Biden administration to lift the mask mandate for public transportation, which was extended on March 10th despite numerous states and cities removing mask and vaccine requirements. BC News reported that the lawsuit was filed in the U.S. District Court for the Middle District of Florida, and that it argues, as others have, that the federal requirement for masks on public transportation interferes with state laws banning the mandate and also oversteps the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention's authority. No. Travel is absolutely regulated by the federal government. Airplanes and shit. We have the Federal Aviation Administration. CDC has broad authority to issue those directives. They're always being stupid. This isn't even the last time we're going to see China. I'm sorry, I was looking at the next story. This isn't even the last time we're going to see Florida be stupid during the show.
Do you think we're stupid? You think we're fools?
Yeah, I do. Shanghai is preparing for phase 2 of its lockdown. Half of Shanghai is preparing for the second phase of a citywide lockdown that starts this Friday. So there have been like shortages at the supermarkets and shit. People getting into fights. Look at those empty shelves. A negative COVID test result obtained within 1 week was required for entry at one supermarket. So the lockdown first started on Monday, but it's like it's been phased in. Shanghai recorded 5,982 local cases on Tuesday. Only 326 of them had symptoms, though. That's pretty good. 5,000 fucking... God damn, imagine how bad it is spreading throughout the community. Only 326 had symptoms. 5,000 tested positive. Fuck. Now, earlier today, we did the live stream with the Biden comments. Biden was pleading for COVID funding to be passed by Congress because at the end of May, we are going to run out of money to continue to fund testing, vaccines, all that good shit. Fortunately, the COVID funding had to be stripped out of the budget proposal that is currently before Congress. You guys want to hear from Senator Bernie Sanders, the Senate Budget committee chair, because he don't seem very happy with Biden's budget proposal.
That some of my colleagues get very nervous when we talk about wealth distribution. Oh my goodness, can't talk about that. But here is the reality, and that is that over the last 45 years in this country, there has been a massive redistribution of wealth. The problem is
upwards
gone in precisely the wrong direction. Today in our country, the very, very wealthiest people are becoming phenomenally wealthier, while at the same time, over
yeah, he winced when Bernie said that.
People in this country are living paycheck to paycheck. I know that is not a reality we talk about terribly much, but in fact, that is the simple truth. Today in our country, the two wealthiest people now own more wealth than the bottom 42% of our population, 130 million Americans. Two people, 130 million Americans. Anybody think that that is what
fuck you, Elon?
It's supposed to be about? I don't think so.
Fuck you, Bezos.
We do not have an oligarchy right here in America is sorely mistaken. Today in America, multi-billionaires like Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Richard Branson are off taking joyrides on their rocket ships to outer space. They're buying $500 million super yachts. And we talk about the yachts that Putin's friends have. Well, guess what? They have them too here in this country.
Thank you, Bertie.
With 25 bathrooms. In terms of health care, over 70 million Americans today are either uninsured or
money printer go brr, line go up for the wealthy. That's exactly what has happened. That has been the monetary policy of the United States for the last 40 fucking years, but specifically during COVID. Money printer go brr, line goes up for the wealthy.
or underinsured. 60,000 people die each and every year because they can't get to a doctor on time because they don't have insurance, don't have the money for co-payments or deductibles. We remain, my friends, the only major country on earth not to guarantee health care to all people as a human right, and yet we pay the highest prices in the world.
Goddamn right.
I think we can all agree that we are living through an extremely difficult moment in American history. The question before us is whether we will stand with the working families of this country and protect their interest, or whether we stand with the big money interests, the large multinational corporations, and the wealthy campaign contributors who decade after decade have enormous influence over both.
That's my definition of obscenity as well, Sky. And the fact that he ruined Grimes. He ruined Grimes. She hasn't been the same since. Representative Katie Porter was on with Lawrence O'Donnell to talk about the proposed billionaire tax that apparently isn't going to happen because Joe Manchin is against it. But I'm sure Katie Porter is going to lay it all out for us.
Right now, billionaires pay an average rate of 8% on their total income. 8%, that's the average they pay. Now, I'm a capitalist.
We're paying somewhere between 25 and 30% on our income.
Just pay your fair share. Pay a little bit. A firefighter and a teacher pay more than double the tax rate that a billionaire pays. That's not right. That's not fair.
That was the president today unveiling what the administration is calling the...
Now, the argument that Manchin even made again, and I've had this argument so many times, is that the rich people don't actually have that money. It is tied up. It's a theoretical worth, and they have to go borrow against their worth. So they're not actually having income to tax. Fuck all the way off. Because that's the argument you will hear from the right. You get taxed on your income, not on your worth. And I say that people that live paycheck to paycheck get taxed on their fucking worth. One guy stands in the way. Well, I mean, We know why. We know who he's being paid by. We know why he's there. If it wasn't Manchin, it'd be Cinema. If it wasn't Cinema, then a couple, 2 or 3 others would be showing their faces. Well, taxes are such a complicated thing. Because I said, like, we are taxed at a tax rate of like 25-30% on our taxes. But effectively, we're probably, most people that are watching my show, I assume, are paying like nothing. We're paying nothing in federal income tax. I didn't. I got a refund. Because of deductions, blah, 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 blah. I got a little money back. I was able to deduct enough shit to offset the money that I owed. It's the rotating villain, indeed. I don't know what the best solution is, but like taking it from the people that actually have the money is the best solution.
Billionaire minimum income tax as part of the president's fiscal year 2023 budget proposal.
If you make over like $1 million in a year, maybe you should be taxed at like 90% after that million.
Says the new tax for the super wealthy, quote, would only apply to the wealthiest 100th of 1% of households, those with more than $100 million and over.
100th of 1%. That's all it would apply to.
Alone. It would ensure that they pay at least 20% of their total income in federal income taxes. The tax is projected to raise $361 billion over 10 years.
That's all?
Zuckman at the University of California, Berkeley, estimates that the richest person in the world, Elon Musk, would pay an additional $50 billion in federal taxes. Jeff Bezos would pay an additional $35 billion, and Mark Zuckerberg would pay an additional $16 billion. Joining us now is Democratic Representative Katie Porter of California. She's a member of the House Oversight Committee and the Deputy Chair.
500 is too much. I'll come down to 10 million. How about that?
Congresswoman Porter,
we can negotiate this.
How will this tax work since it's aimed at
agreed, Mergen,
at wealth as opposed to income?
So the basic idea here is that billionaires earn income that escapes the ordinary tax system. For most of us, a dollar we earn is a dollar that we put on our tax returns. But for the ultra wealthy, when they earn an extra dollar,
RB,
they're able to defer
10 million. We came into a consensus here. 10 million
for generations and avoid taxation. So what this really does is just accelerate those taxes so that they're paid evenly as they are earned, which is exactly what happens to the rest of us.
But so this taxes gains, for example, gains earned in the stock market. We see reports all the time that people like Elon Musk, his wealth just increased by, a few billion.
I can understand that in some parts of the country, you're making $1 million a year, but you live in like San Fernando Valley or something. That's not exactly, balling. That's not doing bad either. But like it's not exactly, balling out. 10 million, I'm cool with that.
$1 billion here, a few $1 billion there. But that's just happening on paper. That
Katie Porter is amazing.
If the stock goes down, so the wealth hasn't been realized, it hasn't been collected by selling the stock. So
But they are able to leverage that in order to get loans. Like it is effective. It is better than the income we earn. It is better than just straight up cash.
How do you get at what you're trying to tax here?
So you would simply look at what is their total realized income, the sort of normal income that the rest of us have. Then you look at what is their unrealized income. So what is the value of the stocks and bonds and liquid investments that they hold at tax time? And to be clear, those amounts can go up and down, but so can the rest of us can have incomes that go up and down. throughout the year. And we pay taxes on what we have at the end of the year, over the year, and they get in the phase-in at the beginning of this tax, they have up to 9 years to pay the initial amount owed. And then after that, they would have 5 years to make any additional payments. To be clear, this is a minimum tax. If you are an ultra wealthy individual, and believe me, if you're one of these handful of people in this country, you know it. If you are one of the handful of people in that 0.01%, then this simply makes sure that you're paying no less than 20% of your taxes. If you're already paying 20% of your taxes in your income and taxes, this tax doesn't do anything to you. This is simply about making sure that we hit that minimum of 20%.
Not just purchasing power.
It functions much like a...
We're going to specifically talk about the healthcare industry after this, and their power to lobby and their influence in our society.
A property tax. The people own property, say in California, in your state. That property is assessed. The government decides we're going to tax it on a basis of the house being worth $1 million, say. So at some point, there has to be some kind of assessment each year of the wealth that is being taxed in this program. Does the IRS know how to do that?
The IRS definitely knows how to do this. We have a very skilled workforce at the IRS. We simply need to give them the resources that they need to carry this out. And when people say, well, you know, that money, that stock that they got, they don't have it yet. It could go down. Believe you me, they spend like they have it. They still have the asset. The value could go up and down. And remember, this applies to liquid assets, so you could sell portion of this.
I believe it, Aaron.
To be able to pay this tax.
There's a house is probably like 100 grand, 150 grand here.
What you earn
is like $1 million there.
Stock benefits is income. Believe you me, if you offered the average American, would you like some Facebook stock? Would you like a share of Tesla stock? They would understand that that is a valuable asset.
Our top tax bracket now is somewhere above $500,000. In World War II, we had a top tax bracket of $5 million.
I've got 10 grand in stock from a penny stock from a company that I worked for a few years ago, did some video editing for. When COVID started, that's when I parted ways with them because they got real sketchy. Dude was like an anti-vaxxer and shit. But like I got my stock and like, hey, I was hoping like they make it to the Fortune 500. Boom, I'm, decent amount of money from that. Dude has fallen off the face of the earth. Motherfucking CEO of a company hasn't posted anything in like 6 months. I think he died of COVID.
$1 million. It has always been strange to me as these incomes and these wealth levels continue to explode that we continue to hold the income tax top bracket down at this very, very low level compared to where the super wealth really is.
Well, but to be clear, one of the reasons that we need to approach taxation.
Oh, and I don't have to be coy about it. The company was called No Borders Naturals. It was a CBD company. I'd probably pull up just for fucking fun. I'd probably pull up a video I did for him here. Hey, here's one I did for one of their products. Fuck that company. Don't buy anything from them. They fucking suck. But I was hoping they'd actually make it to something so I could have some money. Yeah, Katie, I'm sorry. I did not do you justice there. You are a gorgeous woman.
Well, but to be clear, one of the
What up, Tones? What up, Dustin?
Taxation through this minimum wealth tax is that many of these people, with an army of very talented lawyers and accountants, and through very careful ways that they structure what they receive from the corporations or places that they work or the businesses that they own, they may not have very high regular incomes. They may get most of their pay, for instance, in stock. And that's why even if we raised the top tax bracket higher, and we probably should, it was hard to think about how high you would have to go to capture someone like Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos.
Sunset Lake CBD, indeed.
Of borrowing against.
They are a company you can support.
Returns in these gains that they're making, so that they actually have the cash to use without having.
Oh shit! Well, congratulations on your new place, though, Tones.
The gain.
They absolutely have the means to pay these taxes, and that's partly why they're being given 9 years to be able to do so. The rest of us have to find that money to pay.
9 fucking years? Like this proposal doesn't even go far enough.
9-year phase-in for these folks to owe it, to pay up what they owe. And really the idea here is the rest of us, like I said, we earn $1, we put that dollar on the tax return. Just because the ultra-wealthy are receiving their income in a different form, they're receiving it in stocks rather than in cash, doesn't mean
I would love for Katie Porter to primary Joe Biden.
shouldn't be taxed.
Representative Porter, we look forward to seeing you in a debate with a Republican who's running on the platform of the Republican Senate Campaign Committee.
Hey, Scrub Lord, did you know that Joe Biden cut the deficit? It's the single biggest deficit reduction in 1 year. I love it when you guys come in here and start talking about like, oh, we're spending too much. We're spending too much. Projected to cut the deficit by another $1.5 trillion over the next year. Might have been the next 4 years. But hey. These deficit hawks always know what they're talking about, right? If you have a problem with federal spending, vote Democrat. Every Democrat in my lifetime has cut the deficit, with the only politician to balance the budget happening to be a Democrat in my lifetime. Every Republican in my lifetime has ballooned the deficit. Crashed the economy. So hey, Scrub Lord, I know, I'm sure you're very economic literate, aren't you? Let's talk some numbers. Let's talk about Medicare. Medicare for all, which would save us so much fucking money. It would save us money as a country. It would save us money individually.
I now recognize the gentlelady.
Scrub Lord, I just gave you the rundown. Democrats aren't fiscally irresponsible. They cut the deficit. How are the Dems worse? I just told you. Joe Biden cut the deficit. Yes, there are a lot of reasons why Joe Biden cut the deficit and not being able to pass anything. What I just said to you is a fact, you dumb fuck. You're calling me deluded, you fucking idiot? Joe Biden presided over the single biggest deficit reduction, single year deficit reduction. That's a fact. That is a fact. Yeah. Fucking, I'm not even a liberal. Like, come correct. I'm not a liberal. But like, can you deal with fucking facts? Like, I know you guys have this belief, and you listen to fucking Daily Wire or Steven Crowder or whatever, fucking Charlie Kirk, whatever dumb fuck on the right that you listen to, and they sound like they know what they're talking about. They're lying to you. They're lying to you. What do you mean a 2 to 3 trillion deficit this year? No. Joe Biden cut the deficit. Do you know what the deficit is? Oh, god damn. Deficit spending is a thing. Joe Biden cut the deficit. If you don't know what you're talking about and you don't care to come correct with facts and actually know about policy, why do you pay attention to politics? If you're just going to come in here and be an idiot, why? Why don't you just, what's your footy ball or something? Can you let the adults talk? The Fed isn't spending like crazy anymore, honey. You don't know what you're talking about. Devaluing the dollar does cause inflation. My argument is that by not taxing the rich, the Fed is forced to print more money in order to keep the economy going, thereby devaluing the dollar and causing inflation. What right-wingers are calling inflation right now isn't actually inflation. Okay, Scrub Lord, I gave you my reasoning. Every Democratic president in my lifetime has cut the deficit. The only politician, the only president to balance the budget in the last century was a Democrat. That's a fact. Both of those Democrats presided over record GDP growth. Every Republican president in my lifetime has wrecked the economy, ballooned the deficit. That is a fact. Straight up fact. But right-wingers are fucking morons. Dumbest fucks walking the planet. Katie Porter. Yesterday, during the very first hearing on Medicare for All, breaks it down on why it is stupid that we don't already have a single-payer system.
Lady from California, Ms. Porter. She's recognized for her questions.
Dr. Collins, what percentage of revenue do private insurance companies spend on administrative costs?
Between 17 and 18% of spending in private insurance plans.
So if I pay my insurance company $100, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, $17 go to administrative costs. What about Medicare? What do they spend on administrative costs?
That range is about 3 to 5%.
3 to 5%. About 3 to 5%. Right here. And if we look at just billing costs, just billing and insurance costs, Medicare is at 1%. Wait, private companies spend 17 times more on administrative costs than Medicare? What are private insurance companies spending on that Medicare is not? Does Medicare spend hundreds of millions of dollars on television advertisements like private insurance does?
Nope.
Dr. Collins?
No.
Does Medicare spend millions of dollars on stock buybacks to shareholders?
Nope.
Does Medicare spend money on marketing? Private insurance likes to put its name on stadiums and PGA tournaments.
Damn right.
Medicare arena?
No.
Does Medicare spend $23 million on
Logarithmic.
pay?
Katie Porter is one of my favorite representatives, and I want her to primary Joe Biden in 2024.
How much it costs to run a high-quality health insurance program? $1. Out of $100, Research shows that Medicare spends 1.1% on administrative costs. We spend $4 trillion on healthcare every year. We could save $200 billion on administrative costs with Medicare for All. And those savings, they could go to expand Medicare. We could spend that money to let patients see dentists. We could spend that money to let patients pay for hearing aids, to help older adults afford eyeglasses, to bring down the cost of prescription drugs, to finally pay mental health professionals for the work they do.
Yes.
Instead, all this money is wasted. We're not talking about paying to keep the lights on in operating rooms or improving the quality of care. All of this money is used to pay big insurance to push paper. It's death by 200 billion paper cuts. Dr. Sachs, what is it about the U.S. market that leads to these sky-high administrative costs?
Congresswoman.
Scrub, man, you are seeing right now, you are seeing a woman go to bat for you, fight for you, to fight the big fat cats that run the health insurance companies that have been fucking us all over. You are seeing a woman go to bat for you and do a damn good job of it. You want to care about fiscal policy? Here, pay fucking attention. Learn what you're talking about.
There is no market. These are local, concentrated providers that have tremendous power to set their prices and to set extraordinary salaries.
To price gouge you.
That the so-called not-for-profits in this country pay their hospital directors $5 million. This is unbelievable. And so this is why these costs why the prices are so high. The administrative costs are so high because we don't have a system, because we spend 20% of our spending just to funnel money between organizations, which is...
Guy says they've just come back. Were you posing as... Oh, no, they're Scrub Lord. You weren't posing as a right-wing idiot.
Something that other countries don't spend.
Dr. Sachs, I wanted to ask you, reclaiming my time for 1 second, Dr. Sachs, I wanted to ask you specifically about standardization and what role that might play in reducing some of this waste that we could reallocate to healthcare costs.
Well, when you go in for billing, there is no standardization on anything, on the information technology, on the systems, who's in, who's out, what's going to be reimbursable. Everything is completely opaque. Everything is completely discriminatory depending on who is being involved. So standardization.
I've seen so many stories of people getting their medical bill, calling, getting an on-mice breakdown, and it coming down by thousands.
Is a big part of all of this, because when you lack standardization, you put in resources to suck out whatever rents you can. And we end up, as you counted, those 17...
I love you guys. My chat rocks.
Basically lost.
Reclaiming my time, Dr. Sachs. We heard today about the cost of Medicare for All, but there's a cost to letting insurers paperwork patients and providers to death, and that cost of inaction is $200 billion on administrative costs. Now, administrative costs...
Also, just changing the dynamic. A health insurance company makes money. Their profit motive is to deny you coverage, to provide you with as little coverage as they can, while charging you as much as they can. That's why we have the health system that we have. When you take that profit motive out, then doctors can focus on actually providing care for patients, doing preventative care, which we lack in this country.
Waste money, but they also waste healthcare workers' time. A recent study found that a majority of doctors, 56%, support a single-payer healthcare program. Why? Because today doctors spend only 1/4 of their time with patients. What are they doing with the rest of their time? Paperwork. And I want to add, not only would 50 to 56% of doctors support Medicare for All, but patients would have the most choice under Medicare for All.
Yep.
The health insurance coverage with the biggest network is Medicare. No private insurance comes close. 99% of non-pediatric doctors participate in Medicare. So I want to recap.
Oh, she's breaking out the whiteboard.
Save money on administrative costs, $200 billion a year. Medicare for All would give patients the most choices, 99% of non-pediatric providers, and Medicare would let doctors practice medicine. Not surprisingly, given these three things, what do we get with Medicare for All? Better health outcomes.
Yep.
And that's why I support Medicare for All, because I support patients over paperwork. I yield back.
The gentlelady yields back.
Fantastic job, Katie Porter. Saltakias. What is up? Welcome. Thank you for being a freaking follower. Yeah, like, if we did that, Rick Scott wouldn't be able to get rich. This company right here, I believe it's Cigna we're getting ready to talk about. A health insurance consultant super PAC wants to tilt a Democratic primary against John Fetterman, who backs Medicare for All. An outside group planning to attack Pennsylvania Democratic Senate candidate John Fetterman for supporting single-payer health care is being led by a consultant whose firm works for the health insurance giant Cigna. Super PAC Penn Progress says it is supporting conservative Democratic Rep. Connor Lamb in the Pennsylvania race because he represents the party's strongest chance to flip the seat. I think that's a wild thing to say about a man who already holds statewide elected office. The lieutenant governor is the other candidate, John Fetterman. Absolutely can. Here is the Fetterman website. Absolutely, go support John Fetterman. If you don't know about him, he is a fantastic candidate. And he's the kind of Democrat that don't take shit from anybody. Kind of like Katie Porter, kind of like Bernie Sanders, in that vein. Despite the group's own polling data finding that Fetterman, who is the lieutenant governor, is trouncing Lamb in the primary and performing better than Lamb against at least one top Republican candidate. So their argument is that Lamb has the strongest chance to flip the seat. That's not it. Lamb will support the policies that will let Cigna continue to rape you. While Fetterman might actually be Democrats' best chance to take the seat, Politico obtained a slide deck prepared for donors showing that Penn Progress is preparing to attack Fetterman as a socialist who supports a government takeover of health care. These are standard talking points used by Republicans and corporate healthcare propagandists, which makes sense given the super PAC's ties to the industry. Fetterman is a very big man. I feel like his presence in the Senate, just his sheer presence in the Senate, would keep some people in line. Let's move to international news now. There's a conflict going on. And we're gonna have to delve into it. Thousands are fleeing the Congo. You thought I was going to talk about Russia. You thought I was going to talk about Russia, didn't you?
So, thousands like Riziki and Dagajamana have been forced to hit the road.
We were just in our homes when we heard bullets, bombs and explosions and just ran.
Heavy fighting erupted on Sunday night as the M23 rebel group attacked army positions. By Tuesday evening, they'd moved into the city of Kabindi.
Look how gorgeous the scenery is there.
Administrative seat, the town of Rutshuru. Uganda's Red Cross said on Tuesday that some 6,000 refugees...
It is so sad. It is so sad. Look at the fucking... just the scenic beauty. And we have such exploitation on that continent. Such underdevelopment. Such civil strife. It's so sad. There is a lot of unrest in Africa right now.
near the border.
As if that's not uncommon.
Confirmed M23's attacks and blamed Rwandan soldiers for supporting the group. It claimed to have captured 2 Rwandan soldiers and presented them at a press conference.
Entre leaders à tous les niveaux.
Sylvain Ekenge, deputy spokesman for the Congolese army, said Congo was being stabbed in the back.
Yeah, it is still the aftermath of the colonial era, of the British Empire and the fucking French Empire and the Dutch and shit. We're seeing the reverberations of all that shit.
Previously accused Rwanda and Uganda of supporting the groups, which both countries denied. On Tuesday, Rwanda reiterated that position, saying it was not involved in any belligerent...
Does he have a MAGA hat on?
Congo's army also said M23 was responsible for the shooting down of a United Nations helicopter on Tuesday, which the group's spokesperson denied. 8 peacekeepers were killed in the crash, the UN said, adding that it is now investigating. M23 seized large swathes of territory a decade ago before it was chased out into Rwanda and Uganda. It has since returned to carry out attacks. There have been regional efforts in recent years to have M23 demobilise, but its leaders have complained about the slow implementation of a peace accord and have accused the Congolese army of waging war against the group.
I mean, I don't have anything to add to that because I don't know shit about what's going on over there. I barely know shit about what's going on here in the U.S. At least I know more than, like, fucking, what was that dude's name? Scud? After he got timed out. He only got timed out for 60 seconds, and he fucking ran off. Dad, you got all butthurt, dude. I'm not misgendering you. You most certainly are a dude. Russia bombs Ukraine cities despite pledge to pull back from Kyiv. Russian forces bombarded the outskirts of Kyiv and a besieged city in northern Ukraine on Wednesday after promising to reduce attacks in what the West dismissed as a ploy by Moscow to stem its heavy losses and regroup for other offenses. He blew his load. He was done. Content warning, some of the fucking horrid video we're going to see of this latest round of bombings by Russia.
Russian forces bombed the outskirts of Kiev on Wednesday, a day after Russia said it was scaling back attacks there, a move the West dismissed as a ploy by Russian invaders to
I just said that.
Intensified bombardment could be heard on Wednesday morning. In an address to the European Committee of the Regions, Kiev Mayor Vitaly Klitschko said battles were taking place near the Ukrainian capital.
We received yesterday...
Man, Kyiv looks like such a cool city from the footage we've seen.
From Kyiv, it's not true. Whole night we listen to sirens, this means the rockets attack, and we listen to a huge explosion east of...
Now, Sky, you've never encountered me doing my thing out in the wild. I put effort into it.
It's means battles there. The people died, still died.
Reuters journalists near the Kiev suburb of Irpin heard frequent shelling and explosions on the ground and in the air. The attacks came just one day after Russia said it would curtail operations near Kiev and the northern city of Chernihiv to increase mutual trust for peace talks. Ukrainians who fled spoke of shells landing in Irpin and bodies in the streets. Yulia Kalmutska said she hid with 37 other people in a basement. They came under fire by Russian machine guns and the building caught fire.
I buried 4 people close to me. My father. I buried 2 young guys who were my neighbors. They couldn't reach the entrance of the building and got shot by Russian troops. And an elderly woman who was cooking and came under fire.
Ukraine and Western leaders had cautioned that Moscow's apparent peace gesture at Tuesday's talks in Istanbul was a cover for reorganizing forces that had failed to take Kiev or any other major city nearly 5 weeks into an invasion. Irpin itself was recaptured by Ukrainian forces this week. Reuters journalists who entered on Tuesday saw Ukrainian troops patrolling an abandoned ghost town of ruined buildings with the body of an elderly man and a woman lying on the streets.
Oh my God.
In an overnight address, Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky made clear he took nothing Moscow said at face value.
Ukrainians are not naive people. Ukrainians have already learned, both during these 34 days of invasion and over the past 8 years of the war in Donbass, that only a concrete result can be trusted.
The United Nations said on Wednesday that the number who have fled the country had risen above 4 million. More than half of those refugees are children, and the rest mostly women.
Oh. Apparently, Jesse Waters said Hunter's former business partner confessed. I hadn't heard that. We'll get to that. Possibly there's been a little mutiny going on in Russia. Putin's advisors are afraid to tell the truth as Russian troops accidentally shoot down their own aircraft. This is according to a spy chief, Sir Jeremy Fleming, the head of GCHQ, used the rare public speech to say it increasingly looks like Russia's President Vladimir Putin has massively misjudged the situation in Ukraine. So, motherfucker has purged people that were giving him good advice, hasn't he? He's just got a bunch of yes men around him. I mean, we saw that fucking clip of him badgering one of his ministers about supporting the invasion. So he's just got people blowing smoke up his ass. So yeah, he is delusional. Demoralized Russian soldiers in Ukraine have accidentally shot down their own aircraft, sabotaged their own kit, and refused to carry out orders, according to a British spy chief. Sir Jeremy Fleming, the head of GCHQ, said President Vladimir Putin's advisors are afraid to tell him the truth about how badly things are going. In a rare public speech on Thursday in Australia, the senior intelligence officer also said, Wagner Group, the private military company with suspected links to the Kremlin, is understood to be prepared to send large numbers of personnel into Ukraine to fight alongside Russians. Oh, god damn. Wagner mercenaries were likely to be used as cannon fodder to try to limit Russian military losses? There are indications that Russian cyber attackers are looking for targets in the countries that oppose Moscow's actions. I wonder if the company that I thought had hired me was actually Russian. The scammers that I've been trying to get some money from. See if they've messaged back. Oh, I've been fucking with these guys. I've been trying to get them to deposit $2,000 in my PayPal account. Or I am going to report them to the FBI and the real company. But joke's on them. I've already talked to the real company. I'm not going to report them to the fucking FBI. The real company that they are impersonating, who I have talked to, has consulted with their legal department. To my PayPal, yes. To my PayPal. Tones, they already have everything. I thought I was working for this company. I had to switch my bank account. I already called my bank. We had to start a new bank account. We had to do some fucking magic shit because I've got a direct deposit coming from another company here in like the next few days at the beginning of the month. So we had to leave the old account open so it can receive the direct deposit and then send the funds to the other account. No, they've got everything. They've got everything on. They got me good, Tones. Because I thought I was filling out my once again. They were impersonating a real company. They were impersonating real people that work at that company. That I was able to go and verify that they were real on LinkedIn. The woman, the VP of talent acquisition, her name was Leslie. That's the name that was on the email that hired me into this company. I talked to the real Leslie yesterday. And just as soon as I said it to her, she's like, oh no, not this again. But now that company is actually considering me for a position. They said it's the least they could do after all I've been through. But no, they can't do anything with my PayPal other than send me money. Because it's my PayPal me link. It's just a link to send Justin Mullins money. That's all it is. All right, here is some wild ass shit. There's been a lot of right-wingers declare that if Trump was in office, this would have never happened. The whole Russian invasion of Ukraine. Here is Russian state media and what they had to say about Donald Trump.
Нам, нашему народу, пришло время призвать народ Соединенных Штатов сменить режим в США досрочно и снова помочь нашему партнеру Трампу стать президентом. Нам, нашему народу, пришло.
So it's time for us, for our people, to call on the people of the United States to change the regime in the U.S. early and to again help our partner Trump to become president. Russian state TV. But now one of the ideas that have been floated around for making Trump president again has been for if the Republicans retake the House. No, this was real. This was real. This was real Russian state television. The idea was floated that if the Republicans retook the House in the fall, that they would make Trump the Speaker of the House. If they retook the Senate, they would be able to impeach Joe Biden, Kamala Harris. Trump would become president again. Trump was asked about the proposal to make him Speaker of the House. I'm unsure if this idiot knew that was the Republican plan to make him president again.
I want to ask a follow-up while we're talking about Congress, because these comments went viral. At the rally, when Congressman Matt Gaetz brought up you being nominated for Speaker of the House, and your reaction intrigued me because I couldn't tell one way or the other how you felt about that. Your reaction?
No, I think that it's not something I wanted. A lot of people bring it up. It's brought up all the time.
Yeah.
No, it's not something I want to do. I want to look at what's happening, and then we're going to be doing something else. No, it's not something I would be interested in.
It's just to make you president again. That's what they wanted to do. Make you the Speaker of the House, who is third in line in succession. No, the Speaker of the House does not have to be a serving member. The Speaker of the House has always been a serving member, but there is nothing in the rules that says it has to be a serving member. So they can just elect someone to be Speaker of the House. But that was their plan. If they were able to retake the House and the Senate, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't even hit the content warning for it. My apologies. Do you want me to hit it now? Because you're going to hear him speak again. He's got a challenge for Democrats. This is from the same interview. I forget what fucking... Just the news, not noise, on Real America's Voice.
Look, we have a very corrupt... I never thought I'd be saying it. But we have... And I can say it very nicely, because anybody... They don't ever want me to... They never take me on that. They just go with the big lie. They keep saying, the big lie, the big lie. But they never want to sort of, hey, sit down and let's talk. We'll go state by state.
Yeah, fact by fact.
Remember, I offered to debate anybody on the election. You know, I didn't have one person.
No one took you up, huh?
And we'd get big ratings.
Yeah.
I offered to debate.
I'll debate you on the. I want big ratings. I'll debate you. So, how do we make this happen? Get me in touch with Trump's people. I will debate him on the election. I'll win too, because he didn't win.
Any Democrat politician on the election of 2020, and they didn't because they can't defend it. If you look at Arizona, all you have to do is look at the findings. And don't forget,
Look at the findings in Arizona. Are you talking about the Cyber Ninja audit that was rigged in your favor that still showed Joe Biden got 90 more votes than the official tally? Are you talking about that? And that's exactly what I would say to his face. Please, let's set this up. I'm going to try. Apparently, it's only open to politicians. He said politicians. I'm not a politician. Maybe I'll go down here and run for school board or some shit. Just so I can call myself a Democratic politician and extend the offer to debate Donald Trump on the 2020 election. Donald Trump, I will debate you. Let's do it, bitch. He ain't moving on. Shit. Oh, fuck. I mean, he's still concerned with the 2016 election. You're going to see that here in a second. We got Hillary Clinton news tonight. Fuck. Turmoil at CBS over Trump aide Mick Mulvaney getting a gig as a pundit. Network executive said they want to hire more Republicans to gain access ahead of a likely Democratic midterm wipeout. CBS News' decision to hire former Trump administration official Mick Mulvaney as a paid on-air contributor is drawing backlash within the company because of his history of bashing the press and promoting the former president's fact-free claims. There's you some cat ass. But a top network executive seemed to lay the groundwork for the decision in a staff meeting earlier this month when he said that the network needed to hire more Republicans to prepare for a likely Democratic midterm wipeout. If you look at some of the people that we've been hiring on a contributor basis, being able to make sure that we are, hey, why don't you stop with the asshole contributor opinion idiots? Hire some fucking journalists. Hire some fucking journalists. Your name is CBS News. Hire some fucking journalists. Being able to make sure that we are getting access to both sides of the aisle is a priority because we know the Republicans are going to take over, most likely in the midterms. According to CBS News' co-president, Niraj Kamlani. Holy fuck. Something's going on out there. He told the staff of the network's morning show, according to the recording of his comments obtained by the Washington Post, a lot of people that we're bringing in are helping us in terms of access to that side of the equation. Reaction from CBS News employees to Mulvaney's hiring was as chilly as the reaction on social media, where many journalists and political commentators suggested that the network was jeopardizing its long history of journalistic excellence. Yeah, that's goddamn Cronkite's network. Fuck. Well, the reason they have contributors is because they feel like the fighting on air is more interesting, makes for better moments, makes for viral moments, and it's also cheaper. It's expensive to run a news department and have journalists that do actual journalism. It's a hell of a lot cheaper to pay Mick Mulvaney to come on and argue with a woke. Oh. In February 2020, while serving as President Donald Trump's interim chief of staff, Mulvaney said the media coverage of the growing coronavirus pandemic was meant to bring down the president. He also infamously defended a Trump administration decision to withhold military aid from Ukraine for political purposes. And he predicted in a November 7th, 2020 Wall Street Journal opinion column that Trump would gracefully accept electoral defeat. So he's not even that good of a pundit. All right, here's your 2020 election news. The story that the Republicans tried to make go viral. The attack on Joe Biden via his son, Hunter Biden. This is Matt Gaetz talking to the FBI cyber chief. What's his name? Brian A. Vondren is the assistant director of the cyber division of the FBI. Matt Gaetz is going to ask Mr. Vondren about Hunter Biden's laptop.
So where is it? The laptop.
He didn't even feel, just where is it? Where's the laptop? Didn't even feel the need to specify.
Sir, I'm not here to talk about the laptop. I'm here to talk about the FBI cyber program.
You are the assistant director of FBI cyber. I want to know where Hunter Biden's laptop is. Where is it?
Sir, I don't know that answer.
That is astonishing to me. Has FBI cyber...
It's astonishing to me that you're still in Congress, you pedophile. Accused of child sex trafficking. Apparently it looks like fucking charges are going to come for him. Where are they? It's astonishing you are still a sitting member of Congress. It's amazing to me that, like, you haven't been stripped. You're a security risk. And you're a disgrace.
Cyber assessed whether or not Hunter Biden's laptop could be a point of vulnerability, allowing America's enemies to hurt our country.
Sir, the FBI cyber program is based off of what's...
This is a dude accused of child sex trafficking!
18 Section 1030, a code which talks about computer intrusions, right, using nefarious intent, network...
Well, you've talked about passwords here. I mean, Hunter Biden's password on his laptop was Hunter02. He drops it off at a repair store. I'm holding the receipt from Max Computer Repair, where in December 2019, they turned over this laptop to the FBI. And what now you're telling me right here is that as the assistant director of FBI cyber, you don't know where this is after it was turned over to you 3 years ago.
Yes, sir, that's an accurate statement.
How are Americans supposed to trust that you can protect us from the next colonial pipeline if it seems that you can't locate a laptop that was given to you 3 years ago from the first family, potentially creating vulnerabilities for our country?
Sir, it's not in the purview of my investigative responsibilities.
But
I'm not responsible for that, Matt Gaetz.
You wouldn't, as the assistant director of cyber, know whether or not there are international business deals, kickbacks, shakedowns that are on this laptop that would make the first family suspect to some sort of compromise. Mr. Assistant Director, have you assessed whether or not the first family is compromised as a result of the Hunter Biden laptop?
Sir, as a representative of the FBI cyber program, it is not in the realm of my responsibilities to deal with the questions that you're asking me.
Has anyone at FBI cyber been asked to make assessments whether or not the laptop creates a point of vulnerability?
Sir, we have multiple lines of investigative responsibility in the FBI. They're all available in public source.
Well, I would think you'd know this one. I mean, I would think that if the president's son...
Look at that face he's making. He's good for his audience, I'm sure. Like, people watching this and like, oh, he can't answer the question. This is just sound bites for Fox News and the other whack job outlets.
Who does international business deals referencing the now president with the Chinese, with Ukrainians. I mean, have you assessed whether or not the Hunter Biden laptop gives Russia the ability to harm our country?
Sir, again, we can do this back and forth for the next couple of minutes. I don't have any information about the Hunter Biden laptop or the
But should you?
No.
I mean, you're the assistant director of FBI cyber.
By the block and line chart, no, sir, I should not.
Who should we put in that chair to ask questions about this laptop that FBI has had for 3 years?
Sir, I'm not in a position to.
I'm pretty sure they don't come and give you an update on ongoing investigations, Matt Gaetz.
So you don't have it. You don't know who has it. You don't know where it is. You're the assistant director. You know, earlier you talked about whether or not you were...
Just like we can't get an update on where the investigation is into your allegations of child sex trafficking. I'd like an update on that. Who can we put in that chair that will tell us when Matt Gaetz will be perp-walked off the floor of Congress?
The Grant Hill or the Christian Laettner. It sounds like you're the Chris Webber trying to call a timeout when you don't have one. So, I mean, who is it? Do you even know who has it? Do you know who we should put in that chair to ask these questions to?
No, sir, I don't know who has it.
Well, could you find out and tell us? You're going to have to give us briefings, thanks to Mr. Liu and Mr. Massey's question about whether or not the FBI was taking a $5 million test drive on the Pegasus system that was being used to target people in politics, people in government, people in the media, people in American life. So will you commit to give us...
Well, let's abolish the FBI then.
Director of FBI Cyber as to where the laptop is, whether or not it's a point of vulnerability, whether or not the American people should wonder whether or not the first family is compromised?
Sir, I'd be happy to take your request back to our office.
Gosh, I mean, will you advocate for that brief?
He did not give a shit about the first family being compromised when Trump was in office.
As in, you will?
I will be happy to take your request back to FBI.
Well, do you believe that is a briefing that the Congress...
I think Matt Gaetz is far more of a point of vulnerability that a foreign power would be able to use compromising information on Matt Gaetz to attack us, as opposed to to Hunter Biden.
Is worthy of having, I guess.
Sir, I'm not going to answer that question. Right? I'm here to talk. The invitation says oversight of the FBI's cyber division. It does not say anything.
Well, right, but I mean, this is a cyber asset. This is a point of vulnerability. If there are passwords.
No. This is a physical asset.
There are references to things that could harm our country. Like, you can't even.
He deals with cyber crime, cyber attacks, Matt Gaetz. That's not what the laptop investigation. The investigation into Hunter Biden is for being foreign lobbying violations and shit. That's not a cyber crime. This is not that dude's responsibility. You're just doing this for show because you're an asshole.
Even sit here right now and say that you know that there's not a point of vulnerability. Maybe there are other crimes, maybe there are tax issues or whatever, but as it relates to is the first family sufficient cyber infrastructure to protect? You don't even know if they're compromised. Tell you what.
I doubt Joe Biden even knows how to turn on a fucking computer. So I think the first family is pretty fucking secure, actually. Can we please get a fucker in office that will have a computer on his desk? There has yet to be a president in the United States who had a computer on his desk. That's just absurd. That's absurd at this moment in time. Can we please get the old fucks out of there? The Democratic National Committee, from going from the 2020 election campaign controversy to the 2016 election campaign controversy, the DNC and the Clinton campaign agreed to pay FEC fines over the Fusion GPS payments for the Trump dossier. FEC found probable cause that Hillary for America and the DNC misreported the purpose of certain disbursements. The FEC has reportedly fined Hillary Clinton's 2016 campaign and the Democratic National Committee over complaints that they violated federal law in improperly describing expenditures to law firm Perkins Co., who then... Cole. Sorry, there's something on my screen. I thought it was AAI. Perkins Cole, who then hired research firm Fusion GPS to dig up dirt on then candidate Donald Trump. The Coolidge Reagan Foundation, two of the shittiest presidents, published a letter said to be from the FEC. So this isn't even confirmed. Fox News is like doing this secondhand. A letter said to be from the FEC. In response to the foundation's complaint against Hillary for America and the DNC, the Washington Examiner first reported on the memo. The alleged violations are of a federal statute and FEC regulations requiring the disclosure of the recipients of expenditures greater than $200, as well as the date, amount, and purpose of the spending. They were accused of disguising money spent on opposition research as legal expenses. Memo states that on February 17th of this year, the DNC and Clinton campaign signed conciliation agreements where they did not admit wrongdoing and maintained the position that money spent on hiring Perkins Coie was meant for legal fees, but agreed not to contest the findings of probable cause in order to settle the matter. So, huge nothing burger. Right-wingers have been talking about it. Even the headline. This one isn't as bad as other headlines though. Agree to pay fines. From the 2016 election to the site of the theft of the 2000 election. That was a fucking horrible segue. Horrible segue. Oh, shit. Students walked out in protest of Governor Ron DeSantis signing a bill, the Parental Parent Protection Act or whatever the fuck it was called. Colloquially. I can't talk tonight. Colloquially. Mocked in the media as the Don't Say Gay bill.
One Duval County high school marched out of class today, protesting the newly passed parental rights and education bill that limits what can be taught in schools when it comes to gender identity and sexual orientation.
Not high enough for this shit.
Reporter Joe McLean was there as all this unfolded and joins us live from Paxson School for Advanced Studies. Joe?
The protest, the walkout demonstration, it lasted about 15 minutes. It was peaceful. It was done under the supervision of administrators. And with their parents' permission, we spoke to some of the students who helped stage it. They said it was incredibly important that they, as students, speak out. Dozens of Paxson students walked out of their school building Wednesday holding signs, sporting rainbow gear, and chanting, What is today about?
It's a protest about the Don't Say Gay bill that has recently been passed in Florida, and we think that it should not have been passed.
The new parental rights and education law signed by the governor on Monday bans any teaching of gender identity and sexual orientation in grades K through 3rd, as well as any other context deemed inappropriate.
Now, as I pointed out, because people are all over fucking social media. Well, you wouldn't want to teach children about any of that stuff in K through 3rd. It's twofold here. When it comes to sex education, you're teaching children that young what is good touch, bad touch, how to recognize abuse, who to report abuse to. Those are the type of things that you are educating that age of children on. The second worry is a student has same-sex parents, has two mommies, have two daddies, some other non-traditional family, and they're not allowed to get up and talk about their family. They're not allowed to write an essay about like their summer vacation that they spent with their two daddies. So then you could fire a teacher for letting a student do that. The law is vague on purpose so that they can interpret it any way they want in other contexts deemed inappropriate. This is also chilling for teachers. What if you have a gay teacher? They can't have a photo of them and their significant other on their desk? That's the kind of shit. And these are the people that are supposedly standing up for free speech. They're fucking evil.
Supporters of the legislation have accused opponents of twisting the law's text or of not understanding it. This News4Jax viewer responding on social media saying, I guarantee they have no idea what is in the bill.
But I do.
Another writing, might want to head out there and see if they really know why they're protesting. I bet you the majority have zero clue. But the students I talked with say there's no confusion.
Further making the stigma even worse, because it shouldn't be a bad word. It should be something that everybody accepts, and we should all accept people for who they are. And everybody in the LGBT community should be heard and should be included. And the Don't Say Gay bill kind of excludes people.
And what is the message you're hoping to send?
The message we are trying to send is that we shouldn't be silenced as a part of the LGBTQ community, and that young children should be able to understand and have knowledge of what being gay is.
Today's rally followed
The kids are all right.
across the state of Florida earlier this year over the same legislation. Legal experts say the law will likely be challenged in court, but in the meantime, it's set to take effect on July 1st.
It won't likely be challenged in court? Why the fuck not? I don't see how there's not a lawyer itching to challenge that. You want to hear from a lawyer on the topic? Let's hear from a lawyer on the topic. This is a far-right nutjob constitutional attorney.
Say gay bill, that's what they call it.
Talking to Victory News. So let's have her explain the bill to us.
But the real name is the Parental Rights and Education Act. Chris Ann, you live in Florida. Give us a real explanation of what your governor just signed into law.
Well, I'll tell you a real explanation is the atrocity of the LGBT and the government school system weaponizing our children with propaganda to say things like, this is a Don't Say Gay bill.
Now, the left calls out the Don't Say Gay bill. That's what they call it.
Let's hear that again. There was a lot to take in.
But the real name is the Parental Rights and Education Act. Chris Ann, you live in Florida. Give us a real explanation of what your governor just signed into law.
Well, I'll tell you a real explanation is the atrocity of the LGBT and the government school system weaponizing our children with propaganda.
So I believe her argument is that the woke mob of the school, it's the government schools, they're part of this woke mob, and it's the LGBTQ community. They have so much influence that they have gotten into these kids' heads and convinced them that they need to protest this bill. Now, here on Victory News, coverage in the spirit of faith, I'm sure they never, ever propagandize children, try to influence their beliefs in any way. God damn. Ron DeSantis was on with Tucker Carlson. Content warning. These are two of the most unlikable fucks you will ever see. Please don't run away. We've got Tim Pool complaining about the rock band Muse. That should be fun. Ron DeSantis goes on with Tucker Carlson. He's responding to leaked comments from Disney executives, apparently.
One of the only politicians I've ever seen, and so many Republican governors in red states really are some.
You know you can get that shirt, right? Content warning, fuckers. Some people, it is censored at the opening of the show. So the reason why it is censored... Oh shit, well I need to do that, don't I? You need a command for Bang Store. The reason why it's censored on the beginning is because YouTube has this thing, like you can't cuss in like the first 30 seconds and the last 30 seconds in order to remain monetized. And most of the time I don't remain monetized anyway. I am usually not monetized on YouTube. If you so desire to go get you a Content Warning Fucker shirt, there is the link. I do need to set that up so that it will have that command. Thank you for pointing that out to me, Tones. I don't do enough to plug my stuff. Like, I think I got some cool shit in the Freak Store. You troll Biden, the Content Warning Fuckers, right wingers or morons. You can get your own right wingers or morons flag. You can get a tapestry. You can get stickers. I got mugs. I got all kinds of shit. You can get the I'm not high enough troll head. There's a Curiouser when she was here the other day. Smokey, I'm doing something. She's like, why don't you have a I'm not high enough for this shit shirt on the store? I'm like, I do. It's got the troll head. It's quite neat. Take this time to promote the Freak Store. This is and like it doesn't say it specific, not enough for this. Is the I'm not high enough for this shit, and the troll has red eyes and everything. Booyah. This is my favorite. The Chris Dorner Appreciation Society. ACAB motherfuckers. You can get the troll ugly sweater. Ooh, we've even got Trump 2024 merchandise. Oh, Stream Elements doesn't know what's going on. Fuck you, Stream Elements. You can get a Content Warning pillows. Oh, anyway. Look at that face that Tucker Carlson is making. If I was looking at Ron DeSantis, that is also the face I'd be making. Smokey, dude. I can't move my mouse hand. He's on my mouse pad. Smokesters. Smokey. Come on, buddy. Smokey. Hat. There. You can sit there. You're good, buddy. You're good. I mean, that's the face everybody should make whenever they look at Ron DeSantis, don't you think?
Some of the weakest people in the country have caved. You have not caved. You've really tried to explain what this bill is about. If you'll just do it quickly for us once again. What is this bill?
Well, this bill is about providing protection so that they know they can send their young kids to school without them being sexualized, without a school telling a young girl, for example, that she may really be a boy. And if schools are trying to do things that impact the health and well-being.
Ain't nobody gonna tell your little girl they might be a boy. That ain't happening, Ron DeSantis.
Being of the kids and their.
What might happen is a child goes to school. As there is a story. I was listening to the documentary on the young lady earlier. She knew at 4 or 5 that she was trans. And she went to school in a dress. And that might have to be a topic that teachers deal with. And the children need to learn acceptance. Unlike your bigoted ass. Maybe if you had been exposed to ideas about other people when you were a child, you wouldn't be such an asshole right now, Ron DeSantis.
Undertaking certain services, that parents have a right to know that and provide consent for it. So this is a real bill that empowers parents. It protects our kids.
It's a real bill, all right.
To say that this bill should have never passed. First of all, Tucker, they weren't saying anything when this was going through the House. They only started doing this because the woke mob came after them. But put that aside. For them to say that them as a California-based company are going to work to take those California values.
Well, you're saying it the opposite way, that if there was a trans child, the teacher may say oh no, you're the other sex.
They don't run this state. They will never run this state as long as I'm governor.
Yeah, they haven't improved Orlando, I noticed. Why don't they throw some money into downtown Orlando and help the people who live there? I have to ask you this, since you're on the topic of Disney. Journalist Chris Rufo, who's really done a lot, has just obtained a video of an all-hands meeting at Disney.
Chris Rufo is that dumbass who had look, if you guys don't know who he is, he is the reason why you know about all this CRT fucking bullshit. He invented it out of nowhere. Even tweeted it out, what he was doing. And still right-wingers fall for it. How a conservative activist invented the conflict over critical race theory. Does it have the tweet here? I just the tweet sums everything up. This is Christopher F. Rufo. We have successfully frozen their brand, critical race theory, into the public conversation and are steadily driving up negative perceptions. We will eventually turn it toxic as we put all the vicious cultural insanities under that brand category. The goal is to have the public read something crazy in the newspaper and immediately think critical race theory. We have decodified the term and will recodify it to annex the entire range of cultural constructions that are unpopular with Americans. Anything that right-wingers don't like is now critical race theory. Oh shit, what'd you, Rufo thing? Boom. I'll put it in the chat and I'll put it in the Discord. Boom. Ask and you shall receive. All right, back to Ron DeSantis lying.
The meeting was in response to the legislation you signed in Florida. Here is Disney corporate president Carrie Burke. Watch this.
I'm here as a mother of two queer children, actually, one transgender child and one pansexual child, and also as a leader. We have many LGBTQIA characters in our stories, and yet we don't have enough leads and narratives in which gay characters just get to be characters. And not to be about gay stories.
Yes.
So I don't understand why an entertainment company that
I don't understand why you give a shit or why you're offended by the comments she just made.
makes animated movies gets to control legislation in your state.
They don't.
Well, and especially, Tucker, you got to wonder, why is the hill to die on to have transgenderism injected into kindergarten classrooms or woke gender ideology injected into second grade classroom? Why is that the hill to die on? Meanwhile, if we had done a bill that prohibited talking about the abuse of Uyghurs in China, Disney would have supported that legislation because they don't want to say a word about that. So it's just an odd manifestation of their corporate.
Wow. Fucking wow. You don't give a shit about the Uyghurs in China, Ron DeSantis. Fuck off. Fuck off. Wow. And then Tucker's Tucker's fucking, watch his face change.
Woke gender ideology injected into second grade classroom. Why is that the hill to die on? Meanwhile, if we had done a bill that prohibited talking about the abuse of Uyghurs in China, Disney would have supported that legislation because they don't want to say a word about that. So it's just an odd manifestation of their corporate values that they actually do Disney cruises, Tucker, to the nation of Dominica, which criminalizes homosexuality. So they're fine doing that and lining their pockets. They're fine lining their pockets from the CCP and all the atrocities that go on there. But it's those kindergartners in Florida that they really want to have transgenderism as part of their core.
Well, I mean, she just said, I'm assuming she lives in Florida. Disney might be headquartered in California. I'm not sure. She said she had a trans child. It's personal. You are attacking her family, you asshole.
Core curriculum in school.
And talking to kids about their genitals.
Mandy, what is up?
I thought that would be a crime, right? No? It should be?
Tucker, I mean, I think about when I was in school, we just did schoolwork. We did things like math and science and reading. I don't even know how this would
I think Florida has pulled, I think Disney has pulled their contributions to DeSantis.
To try to torpedo legislation that I think 90% of parents probably view as just common sense. It really makes you wonder, about what's motivating this decision making.
It really does. And just to be clear, final question. I read the bill.
Oh shit! Did you text me back and I saw that this morning and I didn't respond because it was this morning and
the word "gay" is not in the legislation.
Right.
So they say it's banning a word that literally isn't even in the legislation.
I never responded back.
It's not even like they're misrepresenting the way the word's used. It's not even used in the bill. It's a fake narrative.
Well, yeah, because you can't say gay.
They have to lie because if they admitted what they were really for, sexualizing kindergartners and first graders, they know that would not fly with the public.
Man, you got a lot of huevos to do this, and I appreciate it, and I hope.
You have a congressman accused of child sex trafficking in your state, Ron DeSantis. God damn. These people are horrendous. More shitty legislation from the right wing. Oklahoma and Arizona. Governors have signed transgender sports bans into law, joining several other states.
There you go. She just wants to play. She loves that camaraderie that you have as a team, the excitement. It would just be really unfair.
We should be able to compete on a level playing field, and the policy that we have right now is making biological women be sidelined in our own sport.
I first started running in 7th grade. Track was really a support system with my teammates. They were always there to uplift me when things got rough, and they've always been there kind of like as a light in the dark.
When I go to practice, it means everything to me. It gives me like a spot to just be myself. I go and I get to hang out with my friends, and then also I just love to win. I first raced against the transgender athletes at the state open meet, and I just realized how much ahead they were of the other girls.
There is more to sports than, I guess, my opinion is just winning a medal.
It was just really disappointing to see how we weren't getting the spots that we rightfully deserved after we trained so many days and so many hours a day. I feel like it's just strictly...
But you didn't rightfully deserve the spot. You lost.
All of the major sanctioning bodies, including, for example, the International Olympic Committee, U.S. Cycling, the NCAA, all have had policies on the books for years that are inclusive. The treatment involves a blocking of testosterone into the female range. When you do that, you cause blood cell counts to go down into the female range, you cause muscle mass to go down into the female range, and those really are two primary inputs into athletic performance. The scientific community and culture is generally lined up with the fact that transgender females are female.
I get like the knee-jerk reaction to being like, no, that's not fair. But you know, athletic ability doesn't come from your gender. It comes
We're gonna have to pack another bowl.
genetics. It comes from your height, your general talent.
Pre-puberty, boys and girls, biochemically, they're effectively identical. So you don't have to worry about if your 7-year-old wants to play on the girls' soccer team instead of the boys' soccer team. There's no advantage.
What the focus of this bill is here in Missouri is to...
I mean, they've got one example.
At the middle school, high school context for...
and poor Leah Thomas having to go through all this.
When they're walking off the field, they're entering into that locker shower room with their teammates. And I think those concerns are legitimate.
What is up with you? Like, kids don't just get naked in front of each other. They're not just going in the locker room and fucking wilding out. Like, what is the obsession with these right-wing politicians and children's genitals? Seriously. This was from a couple of weeks ago. This was the Missouri State House. No, it's the Missouri State Senate. State Senator Elaine Gannon was asking questions during a March 1st hearing. And you're not going to believe this exchange.
You're in the ladies' room and then you realize somebody else is in there doesn't have has a male body instead of a female's body. I mean, it just causes some issues there. No, you should let people go to the bathroom. No one's there. You seem to think they probably don't realize. Yeah, exactly. That's because you have those long hair and that's been. Are you going to go through the procedure? You think we're going around forcing our genitalia in people's face? We're trying to go to the bathroom.
And here's the thing: is having several trans friends and dated trans people, like, they're really self-conscious. And I hate that. I hate that assholes and bigots have made them so self-conscious. They're certainly not going around showing their genitals to people. The girl she's talking to is 14 years old. 14 years old, and she's asking her if she's going to have a sex change procedure. And she is on the side that is saying, we are sexualizing children.
What you want to do is not let people do that. Your whole argument here is the fact that you don't want people to use a bathroom with no one is looking at what kind of. I was seriously just curious.
You're asking for on public record about genitals, and if people would see that, how would anyone know? We have been coming for 7 years trying to help people understand, and I know this is off topic and you didn't make anything by it, but that's the point.
She kind of shrugged her shoulders.
Kids are wanting to play sports with their friends. That's what this bill is. And getting wrapped up in genitals in bathrooms gets us
and self-conscious because of dysphoria.
My child is so much more than genitals. And that's what I need you to see. That's what every family has come here.
I'm sure the dysphoria is more prominent. It's just something that, like, because I'm not in those shoes, I can't. It's not top of my mind. But yes, what a fucking Karen. And, like, they said that we've been coming here for 7 years to try to educate you people.
Here is begging you, demanding that you see. I don't know what your genitals are. I am not making an assumption, and I'm not willing to ask that question because it's frankly inappropriate.
It's frankly inappropriate. Their obsession with this. It's absurd. And I'm like, this guy, he's watched some trans porn in his life. and he's gotten a boner from it, and because of repression, it upsets him. Because you know what? Trans women are hot.
They wouldn't fall into a phobic context.
Nobody is going to undergo medical treatment, stand up at school and say, I want you to call me by this girl's name, change their legal ID, come out to everyone, only so they can go into the girls' room and peeping Tom. I mean, it's just, there's no basis of reality.
Stupid!
Darth Vader's his father?
Mm-hmm. Sunny is kind and lovely, smart. Sunny likes baseball. She's pretty good too. And then she's in gymnastics. She's just an 8-year-old. She's like every other typical 8-year-old. None of us want this. I wanted my child to be born in the right body, and she wasn't. And that's not her fault. It's not my fault. We don't need our government to be adding more, and to be really picking on a very tiny group of people.
A very tiny group, and that's always their argument. Like, oh, why should we change societal norms for a very tiny group of people? Like, oh, you just want to keep denying reality. Just because it hurts your feelings to understand that gender is more complicated than what you have in your little pea brain. Madison Cawthorn had a meeting with House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy this morning. Cawthorn has apparently lost McCarthy's trust following orgy and cocaine comments, which is amazing. If you know anything about Madison Cawthorn, he's been lying through his teeth since he was running for office, and this is what lost your trust? Representative McCarthy is fed up with Madison Cawthorn. The GOP leader said on Wednesday after meeting with the North Carolina Republican that morning that Cawthorn has lost my trust due to his repeated actions that were not becoming for a congressman. And McCarthy warned the freshman he could face punishment if he doesn't take certain steps to turn himself around, which could include losing his committee spots. Cawthorn enraged wide swaths of his own conference when he recently claimed on a podcast that his colleagues have seemingly invited him to an orgy and that he watched at least one fellow lawmaker consume cocaine, claiming that the same member was involved in the anti-addiction efforts. And it's just the latest episode in a series of controversial remarks Cawthorn has made.
You live in sexual anarchy?
I saw the Daily Wire earlier today. They were calling for him to name names. Yes, Madison, please, name names. There's a lot of different things that can happen, but I just told him he's lost my trust. He's going to have to earn it back, McCarthy said when asked if Cawthorn could face consequences for his actions. I mean, he's got a lot of members very upset. McCarthy said that during their private talk, he pointed to certain things Cawthorn needed to start doing professionally and in his own life as well. And he isn't discounting more meetings with the freshman lawmaker, saying there very well could be more conversations with Cawthorn as GOP leaders assess what actions are taken by him. You can't make statements like that as a member of Congress. It affects everybody else and the country as a whole. Holy shit! House Minority Whip Steve Scalise said in an interview that during their meeting with Cawthorn, the House GOP's top two leaders expressed real concern with some of the things that he's done recently, and obviously the ball's in his court in terms of how to respond, but we were very clear with the concerns we had, and a lot of other members too. McCarthy had vowed to GOP members behind closed doors that he would have a talk with the freshman about his remarks. It was a notable dressing down from the Republican leader who was at other times has seemed to contend to leave troublesome members alone. McCarthy was pressured to address other controversy within his ranks just weeks ago when Representatives Marjorie Taylor Greene and Paul Gosar attended an event led by a known white nationalist. McCarthy was less critical about Greene's behavior, saying he met with the Georgia firebrand on the matter and that she wouldn't do it again. It is unclear if he met with Gosar. Being at a white supremacist rally? outing your fellow members as hypocrites? No, can't have that. Alex Jones is having a really bad couple of days. He now faces hefty fines for skipping Sandy Hook deposition. He will be fined $25,000 to $50,000 per weekday that he does not show up and give his deposition. Connecticut judge on Wednesday said InfoWars host and conspiracy theorist Alex Jones will be fined anywhere from $25,000 to $50,000 per weekday until he appears for a deposition in a lawsuit brought by relatives of some victims of the Sandy Hook elementary school shooting. Jones's testimony is being sought ahead of a trial to determine how much he should pay in damages to the families for pushing a conspiracy theory that the massacre never happened. Jones cited a health problem last week when he defied an order by Judge Barbara Bellis to attend a deposition. Bellis said there wasn't enough evidence that Jones was too ill to attend and found him in contempt of court. Bellis also ruled that the deposition will now be held at the office of the family's lawyers in Bridgeport, Connecticut, instead of Texas, where Jones lives. Beautiful, beautiful. So now she's made it even harder for him to get to the deposition, and she's going to find him every fucking day. Love it. Jones's lawyers said he only missed the depositions because of his doctor's advice and had always planned on attending the proceeding. They said he would next be available for a deposition on April 11th. Dude, what? That's, how many weekdays? At least 8. Let's say you're on the low end. 8 times 25. On a calculator, I can't do math. That's $200,000, my friend. That's $200,000. Good. Families of 8 of the victims and an FBI agent who responded to the school sued Jones, InfoWars, and others in Connecticut over the hoax conspiracy. Jones has since said he believes the shooting did occur. Plaintiffs on Tuesday rejected an offer from Jones to settle with them for $120,000 each. Not enough. No, they are going to take you to the fucking cleaners. There absolutely needs to be a judgment. 30, 40, 50 million against Alex. Bankrupt this motherfucker. Make sure he is paying these families for the rest of his life and that Alex Jones is irrelevant. You know, I've never used the Twitch app. When I'm watching other people, on my computer, I have it up on the TV. I don't know what the Twitch app is like. Tim Pool is apparently upset at the rock band Muse. If you don't know the band Muse, I highly recommend them. I saw them for my birthday in 2017. I think most people know them from the song that was on like Rock Band 2 or 3. But if you like poppy progressive rock, I've heard people describe Muse as what Radiohead would be if they were happy. And that's kind of true. That's kind of true. Highly recommend Muse. But apparently, Tim Pool, not a fan of the Muse right now. YouTube host and content creator Tim Pool said on Monday that he has some questions that need to be answered concerning a March 9th released video promo from the popular band Muse. About a year and a half ago, Pool released a music video, Will of the People. And he says he sees many similarities between his video and a video by Muse with the same name. He goes so far as to call Muse's release a shot-for-shot remake of the video. Bullshit. This is the Tim Pool video, Will of the People. All right, like, no, because I've watched the promo for Muse. It's only like a 20-second ad. I've watched the promo. Yeah. It's basically to promote his video. I'm not going to get my 12 cents. Unfortunately, my 12 cents from YouTube is probably going to go to Tim Pool because I'm playing this fucking video. God damn it. That's not Tim Pool singing, is it? Original song and music video. Wait, he wrote this? That's him singing? I don't upload it. We're live on YouTube right now. I can go back and take it out afterwards, but I'm going to lose like the revenue from the live stream, which is about 12 cents. He called it a shot-for-shot remake. It is not. But what? This is Tim singing? He's a better singer than he is a right-wing pundit. I mean, auto-tune, I've had this conversation with people. Pitch shifting isn't going to make you sound good if you're shit. You got to bring something to the table. I mean, are we going to have to watch this whole video just because, like, there has been nothing in this fucking video that has looked like the Muse video. He called it a shot-for-shot remake. Hold on, you guys give me your opinion. We'll come back. We'll come back to it. Here is the Muse clip. It's only like 30 seconds. First of all, it's not even the same animation style. In the stained tier of singers. So that was the Muse clip. I have seen nothing. Yeah, there's some orange in Tim's video. I've seen nothing in Tim's video that looked anything like that. Now I'm assuming that maybe towards the end they pull the statues down and maybe it looks something like that. I don't like, and like the style of Tim's video is like the, what do they call this style? Like the Sin City kind of style. It is weird that both of them are titled The Will of the People. But here's the thing is like Will of the People fits right in with what Muse has been doing. Like if we go and like look at song titles by Muse over the last like 2 albums, Will of the People fits right fucking in. Calling it garish. Oh, for some reason my Spotify is not loading up here. Okay. So let's look at their last album. Simulation Theory was the name of their last album. Algorithm, Pressure, Propaganda, Thought Contagion. Drones had like this military theme. Dead Inside, Psycho, The Handler. The Handler was the coolest fucking song in like live. So they had these giant screens behind them. They do The Handler and like it's got this puppet master. And like they had to have some sort of sensors in their outfits because like the puppet master on screen, all of the strings looked like they were moving with the band. It was fucking killer. Fucking killer. So I mean, Will of the People fits right in with like themes that Muse has been singing about. I have a hard time believing this is Tim Pool singing. And now apparently, like, he put this together during COVID, so... Reminds you of a Bone Thugs video. It reminds me of like a fucking... They do this a lot in video games when they don't want to like do the full motion animation and shit. I can't think of one off the top of my head. Maybe like Wolfenstein had this like animation style for like when they're doing the like backstory. Written and performed by Tim Pool. Nothing in that video looked anything like Muse. I was gonna like maybe at the end they pulled down the statues and they were like falling into the sand or something. Nothing like that. Nothing like that. Ah, goddamn, Tim, you're stupid. So Pool discusses the similarities on Timcast.
You want to grab the mic?
Yeah, right up to the mic. There we go.
Go right up to the mic.
Perfect.
It's can you turn the volume up?
Yep, we'll get some sound. There we go. Now we're good to go.
All right.
So my name is Jeff Clark, and I'm the former double assistant attorney general in the Trump administration. I had 1,400 lawyers under me at some point, but in the interest of full disclosure, I am Irish.
Oh, no. Are we talking about Muse here?
Internalizing people's sorrows and difficulties. So
apparently we get to it.
So I'd like to...
Oh my God, so you bring a guest into your studio. He was the double attorney general or whatever the fuck that dude said. For the Trump administration. You bring your guest into the studio and the first thing you do is like, oh hey, a rock band ripped me off.
Talk to you guys about this story real quick, and then we have a lawyer give us his perspective.
Can I just make one point? I want to let the audience know what I referenced earlier. It's from a children's book called Joey, The Story of Joe Biden, where we learned that in high school he was given the nickname Hands because of how good at football he was. Anyway.
Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like you to take a look at this. Is timcast.bandcamp.
Because jokes always need explanation.
Camp.com. For those of you that are familiar, and those of you who aren't, I released a song November 2nd, 2020 called Will of the People. It's actually part of a series. It's a universe where we're actually writing a bunch of different songs that go into this artwork. We've got a studio that's going to be producing the artwork. We've got 2 sequel songs that are in works. We just released the retro version the beginning of this month. And you can see here our album art shows an orange sky with statues and cables on it, and they're being pulled down.
You can buy that song for $5. Meanwhile, you can get like a Muse song for 99 cents on iTunes. $5 is what Tim Pool is charging for that bitch-ass song. What?
In the beginning of this song, we can see right here, what you're seeing right now on the screen, and I'll describe it, is gears, and this is underground. I'll lower the volume and just play the intro for you. Now what you're seeing is the ground level and the base of a statue as the song begins to start to show you as it moves up. You then see the cables at the waist of the statue under an orange sky. And more shots of the statue with cables wrapped around it. I then want to show you the end of the song, which is kind of a spoiler alert for those who haven't seen this production. But at the end of the song, you then see the resolution, which is the ground level brown orange sky, cables wrapped around a statue, and people are pulling the statue down. But when they do, the statues rotate. So keeping those points in mind, I'll just quickly say, I produced a song that is part of a bigger project we're working on. We've pitched movies, we've talked about graphic novels. We have a whole story arc for the characters in this because we've been trying to build culture, and we're trying. This is our most successful cultural thing we've produced. We have a story called Will of the People. It is a song and series we're producing, and it begins with a ground shot, the base of a statue under an orange sky with cables pulling it down. On March 9th, which is also my birthday.
Let me tell you, like a pan-up shot to open a video is incredibly fucking common.
Muse posted this video, which I'm not going to play for copyright reasons, but I can scroll through. Starts with a ground shot. You see a foot.
Looks nothing like your video.
Pointed up with cables hanging down under an orange sky. And then it zooms out. There's a hooded figure, and people are firing more cables, and they then pull the statue down. Now, my initial reaction to the fact that Muse launched an album called Will of the People and a song called Will of the People. It was on this show that Ian said to me, he's like, hey, did you know?
I would like to think that Muse has no fucking clue who you are. I would assume that they don't, but then again, they're incredibly politically aware. So they might.
Muse has a new album coming out called Will of the People. And I went, oh, how about that? Because, yeah, it's just a title, and Muse being very political.
Beanie Baby now.
Whatever. Then, it was last night, we were driving back from, we're just out of town a little bit, and I decided to actually take a look, because I hadn't actually looked at what Muse was...
If anybody plagiarized anybody in this whole affair, it's the fact that Muse has a song where it's like, the will of the people, which sounds like the beautiful people. Which has been a meme that's constantly going around here lately.
Producing, and sure enough, it's the way I would describe this is it's a live action version, shot for shot, of the intro and parts of the...
It is not.
Will of the People. Now, considering this is a promo, we don't know exactly what Muse is intending to do with the full release. In this video, they're chanting over and over again, the will of the people, the will of the people. And of course, in my song, we say, this is the will of the people, and they're pulling statues down. So it's very similar. What people need to understand is I've not said anything in terms of legal stuff. I tweeted out, we have questions. But considering we've heavily invested in, I got 2 songs, I can actually do this. I'm going to do something I shouldn't do because I shouldn't have to reveal this stuff, but I have no problem showing just a little bit of a rough cut.
Oh my God.
So this is...
He's really into himself.
That I don't know how to turn off. There we go. That we've been working on because... And we also have another song. It's on my Instagram. So we're absolutely producing in this, and this is an issue for us. So I'm curious, Mr. Lawyer, what your thoughts are.
He wants to be shot down.
I had done copyright work for General Motors at one point about the computer.
If this guy doesn't tell Tim that he's an idiot, then he needs to be disbarred.
Computer code in their cars. and attempts by the state
Shameless self-promotion
to grab that. So,
I mean, okay. In full disclosure, like I can't bash Tim too much. I've accused Seth Rollins of ripping me off. Like, that's my whole thing about Patreon. Is like, help me sue Seth Rollins, help me sue Gwyneth Paltrow. But then again, like, I actually have evidence. So I understand the tactic that Tim is employing, and I can't bash him too much for that.
Look, in terms of the basic...
Both videos have statues.
Copyright law, I mean, it looks to me like there's a lot of similarity here, and... it'd be interesting if you could uncover evidence of whether there was actual, intent to copy. But it looks like it's been, some key elements have been copied. And then the issue is, is there originality in your work? I think it's very original.
I wonder what, like, fucking, who uses an orange sky unless you're depicting, like, I don't know, a post-apocalyptic dystopian world? That's fucking orange sky is standard for that. Idiots.
I think particularly, compliments to you, the turning statue.
That was inspired by artwork from a Polish artist. But
Okay.
we created our own version of it, we animated it, and we made it part of a bigger story.
Okay.
So there's a lot to break down, especially.
So he plagiarized the statue that he's accusing Muse of plagiarizing.
Big fan Matt Bellamy would love to chat because I need questions answered, right? A lot of people said the idea of the statues being pulled down you don't own. And I said, right. And they said the idea of an orange sky you don't own. They said the phrase "will of the people" you don't own. I said, okay. And then I said,
who said I don't want to bash Tim Pool? I do.
Shot of a statue under an orange sky with ropes pulling down the statues is pretty much a live action remake of what we made.
No, it's not. It was nothing.
That's the kind of defense argument you would face, right? But it's an attempt to atomize your work. If you look at it, if you take
fucking any respectable lawyer would laugh in Tim's fucking face.
Take a step back and you look at how you've combined the elements, right? It's combinatorial. It looks like it's very similar. And
no, it doesn't.
I'd be pretty concerned about, Muse, coming out with something like that right after you've done it.
So
and there may be evidence that they saw your work, and that would be very troubling if
Doubt.
Considering that Matt Bellamy has praised Alex Jones in the past, maybe I'm wrong. I just want to make sure I can put that out there. But there have been numerous.
I can't imagine he praised Alex Jones.
Singer of Muse, telling Alex Jones inspired his music. Their songs use a lot of themes of anti-establishment, anti-government. So a lot of people like them, though I don't know where they exactly stand on the political spectrum. It stands to reason that they likely have access and have definitely seen the work.
Holy fuck, he's been on the Alex Jones show.
The guests we have on the show overlap with a lot of what they talk.
Oh, this was in 2006. That's a little different. I was an Alex Jones fan in 2006. That's way different.
Talk about. So,
So I've seen them. I know that they have a connection to the Alex Jones show. I have some Muse songs on my iPhone right behind me. I know kind of where they draw their themes from, and I can see why you're asking these questions.
If I wrote a book, you can't copyright book titles, right?
Not quite sure of that off the top of my head.
Okay. I'll put it this way. There's a lot of people who responded to my post on Instagram and my Twitter when I said we have questions. I didn't say anything beyond that.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't threaten.
So apparently Bellamy used to be a 9/11 truther. By 2009, he'd come out against 9/11 trutherism. He had his photo taken with Hillary Clinton in 2016. So probably not on the Alex Jones bandwagon anymore.
I didn't claim anything, but a lot of people immediately said Muse didn't steal your work. And I didn't even say that. A lot of people didn't realize, though, that they took the name as well as the color scheme, the symbols. I mean, we have the character in the hood raising his fist, and then it's a whole pulling the mask up. So obviously, there's a lot of things.
Oh yeah, because nobody else would come up with "Will of the People"
individually claim. But my response is like, what if I wrote a book called Star Battles about space ninjas with plasma swords that fought the Imperials?
Sounds awesome.
Would I get sued? Would I get sued for that if I made that book?
Yeah, I think you would.
Probably not.
Everyone would recognize it as connected to Star Wars, and the combination of those elements, right? Those creative elements is what makes it.
Honey, this is the United States. Everything's a fucking ripoff of everything else. What are you talking about? Fucking like Oreos ripped off Hydrox. Oh, goddamn. I hate these people. I'm done with this. I can't do it. It is difficult to sue for intellectual property. Smokey, dude, what are you doing? This fucking cat. He just keeps getting over here. He's laying on my fucking board. Dude. You can't come over here and take a nap on my fucking soundboard, dude. That's not cool. Come on, Smokey, you gotta get up. You're on my fucking headphones and shit. Maynard's over there at the door. I don't know what the fuck is your deal. Trying to wrap this up. We're gonna land this ship. Hey guys, unfortunately, April Fool's this year falls on a Friday, so you don't get a Patriot Patrol. I was really looking forward to doing the Patriot Patrol with Justin Freakin, the hardest right man in news. Last year, I got so into the character, I advocated genocide, and I had to take the video down and censor myself. I do not condone genocide. Do not advocate for it at all. Pretty against it. Just to be clear. Astronomers have discovered the farthest star out yet. I'd like to say it's cool to look at it, but I mean, it just looks like the carpet in my Olin Mill studio circa like 2005. That's the thing I always love. We're looking into the past.
I've been working under the assumption that the light we're seeing is just from one massive star. And with that assumption, it works out that it would have to be at least 50 times the mass of the sun. So it's a really big, really massive star, which is not unheard of within the local universe.
It was the Hubble that spotted it. Still going to be a little while before we start seeing images from the James Webb, I believe.
I'm excited to find ever more distant objects. So I'm really looking forward to the chance that, something could break this record.
And that's what the James Webb is supposed to do. Get us further and further into the history of the universe. Oh, there are a few images? I thought I read that it was going to take a couple months to calibrate it. That they had a lot of work to do before they could actually start transmitting images. My bad. I'll look that up though. I'm very interested to see the kind of shit they produce. Sell their space pics as NFTs. That's not a bad idea. Or we could just, fund them through the government. All right, this is a heartwarming story. This young man has a condition They found a puppy that has the same condition he was born with, and now they are best fucking friends.
Pure happiness at the Jackson County Animal Shelter on Friday. 2-year-old Bentley Boyers got to bring his new puppy home. Last week, Bentley's dad, Brandon, came to the animal shelter to look at 2 chickens he was thinking to adopt when a pooch caught his eye, a puppy with a cleft lip.
He FaceTimed, he goes, I think this one has a cleft lip, and I said, get her. We need her.
Bentley was born with a cleft lip. His mom said he had a tough start in life where it was a struggle to get him to eat.
We had to sit him up and feed him and hold his lip together in order for him to eat. So it was a process.
Since day one, he's been a happy baby. Ashley says his cleft lip doesn't make him any different. The family feels finding the puppy will show Bentley he isn't alone.
To see him have something in common with the puppy means a lot because he can grow up and understand that him and his puppy have both had something that they can share in common.
The animal shelter says they don't normally see puppies with cleft palates. Before her adoption, they had her for a week and don't see that she will have any problems in the future.
Her disability is really not holding her back. And as she grows, they'll be able to see more if there's anything changing that has to do with that, but she's really doing well. She might look a little bit different than a normal dog would, but it's not slowing her down at all.
At just 2 months and 2 years, the imperfect super duo find a perfect match.
This is my puppy.
Oh, that's fucking adorable. I'm glad you found your best friend, buddy. Oh, man. That puppy is lucky to have you. You're watching on Twitch. We're going to send you over to Echoplex Media. It is the Intellectual Dollar Tree on a Wednesday night. Go ahead, light one up, tip one back. It's all right to have a little fun before you hit the sack. I'm Justin Freakin. We'll see you tomorrow night on the Troll Patrol Live.